Hermione and I kicked her out of the initial hearing range once the plan was completely thought up.
They giggled and murmured, occasionally glancing at her and nodding.
As much as I tried and strained, I couldn't read their lips. When I did, the words didn't make sense together. An eschweep. Shiu, diff check, was what I just read off of Ginny, and I'm quite positive that anschweep was aw shit, but I could be mistaken. It could very well be aw sweet for all I knew. For some reason, their secretive notions made me a bit both nervous and left out. Why would I feel left out when it was me they were talking about? Honestly, I don't know. My emotions go haywire for 5 days every month or so. It's part of being a girl, I suppose. Sighing, I decide to give up. Slowly, I change into my cotton pajama top and thick bottoms that had Care Bears all over them, Funshine Bear and Laugh-A-Lot Bear being my all-time favorite. The multitude of blankets curled around my figure as I lay down completely on my twin-size bed. The mattress creaks once and then stays silent. I soon fall asleep to the whispers and chuckles across the room caused from my disrespectful friends. The next morning, I'm shoved off my bed. That's my wake-up call. 1 minute, I'm happily surrounded by plush pillows and downy blankets, dreamily thinking about a pair of Sam Worthington lips. The next, my face is crunched up against the floor, and my butt's in the freezing cold air. Thanks, guys, I grumble into the floorboards.
Our pleasure, Ginny says, giving my butt a quick kick. Now get your tushy up. We need to get you ready for our first class.
Instantly, I pick myself off of the floor. Standing up all the way, I turn around and saw Ginny standing there with her hands on her hips. Her brown eyes stare me down, contemplating something important. Ginny snaps her fingers and points at something behind me to the left. Turning that way, there stands Hermione holding up various shades of makeup. Ginny had pointed to a flaring light pink matched with shades of purple. Aw, shit it is.
Snape had informed us Slytherin boys the night before that we would all be attending a new class with Gryffindors the next day. I felt no immense hatred towards whatever the class may be. It was told that only girls from Gryffindor would be attending it with us Slytherin boys too, which made it just a tad easier to hate though. A few lower years huffed and complained about this new mysterious class, especially with it being with Gryffindor. Sitting down on a silver couch near the fireplace, I smirk at the utter idiocy of how they acted. I sure hope that I hadn't once been so childish and immature at their age. What harm could one class do, really?
Snape soon gave up on reasoning. Yelling is more his style, with the few younger boys who still had the guts to complain and left the room. He left with an air of authority that caused the common room to go silent.
Giving a chuckle at the group of toddlers as that's how they were acting, I stood up and sauntered over to them. Have no fear, boys. We won't let those gruesome Gryffindor girls hurt you, I said with as much as a straight face as I could. Blaise Zabini came up behind me and slapped me on the back, jostling me for a moment. Malfoy's right. You boys don't have to worry. We love us some Gryffindor girls, was all he said. Many of the younger boys went wide-eyed and zipped off to complain in private. Zabini and I smirked. After chatting for a few moments, we both headed off to our dormitories. Changing into a pair of silky silver boxers, I slipped under my familiar covers. It wasn't long for the dreams to come. The ground was slick and the breeze burned my skin until it felt as if I was completely bare. Looking down, I saw I wasn't wearing shoes at all. My toes were bluish and black, not a healthy color. A pain arched up my back. The bones cracked and mangled within themselves until it began to bleed, inside and out. My body contorted and twisted into a strange shape, and I was left shivering on the ground. Then a light across the fielded pasture glowed. It was a halo of golden rays that shone through my darkened state. It was coming nearer and nearer to me. My breath caught in my throat as I looked up and saw something I hadn't expected, someone I hadn't expected. Bursting up from my nightmare, I shivered in a cold sweat. My boxers clung grossly to my body. Lifting my arms to rub my face, I feel them stick sickly to my sides and nearly taste the salt on my palms. Damn, I needed a shower. Gathering my trousers and the white button-up shirt that was part of my daily wear, I stumbled along to the bathroom. The water froze and burned at the same time as it hit different parts of my body. My muscles loosened a bit as I began to relax and forget what the dream was about. The strangeness of being attacked and then rescued by someone so unlikely, it frightened me. But the rhythmical beat of the hundreds of water droplets soon made that unnatural feeling pass. The towel washed, dried, and prepared me for the freezing air that surrounded my skin as I got out of the heated confinement. After buttoning up the last nearly see-through button, I headed out to grab my tie. I tightened it while walking out to the common room to meet up with Snape.
In total, there were 11 boys that were heading out to gather with the Gryffindor girls.
There was a moment of muttering and stuttering as Snape began to explain what the class would be about. We were halfway to the new classroom when Snape finally came out with it.
You have been assigned to work with the Gryffindor girls in a new class, as previously mentioned. This class is for your education. The education of the body and its workings, as a matter of fact.
By the tone of his voice, he was actually avoiding saying the specific meaning. A brunette boy from the year below mine raised his hand and talked without being called.
Basically like a health class.
Snape sighed and swallowed, causing his Adam's apple to bob sickly.
Yes, Mr. Carlson, it's basically like a health class, as you so kindly said.
We were led into the typical classroom atmosphere to see that every table had one girl placed in the chair. Each table had 2 chairs, and if one was already full, then hell if I'm going to enjoy this class.
Damn it, Hermione.
I mumbled as I was shoved into a desk nearer to the back. She hustled back to her front row desk while I just slammed my forehead into the desk's top. We had been ushered into this classroom to start a new topic for this year, anatomy, which, as Hermione pointed out, was much like the health class I took 4 years ago. As if we didn't know about the body at age 17 anyway.
Make things worse, this was part of Hermione's plan, that I had figured out. Come on, who couldn't figure that out? She knows for a fact that I like the middle of the classroom, and to volunteer me to join the 11 Gryffindor girls? Really?
I could hear when the boys wandered in. The aura of sweat, hatred, and lowly male pride swept over me. It was a hard thing to ignore. Those who figured that they were supposed to sit down hurried over to who they knew wouldn't be awkward. Other guys just stood there as if they would catch AIDS or syphilis from just sitting near us. The stool at my desk finally squeaked.
I could feel that presence of a Malfoy. You know, burning pride, fat ego, and that swift scent of citrus. How in the bloody burning chocolate did Hermione know that Malfoy would sit next to me? Sometimes that girl is too smart for her own good.